was Frederick Buechner who said, "Calling is where your deep hunger meets the world's deepest needs." To miss out on your calling is to miss out on a large part of why God made you. To fulfill your calling is a noble thing. After accepting our calling to Christ, Paul in Ephesians 4 wants us to discover the theogenetic code embedded in us. For as we awaken the fivefold typology in our church plants, we will be able to live into our calling. Paul says in Ephesians 4:7, "But to each one of us grace has been given as Christ apportioned it." You have certain longings and desires in you. He goes on to say, "So Christ himself gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, and the pastor and teachers to equip his people for works of service, so that the body of Christ may be built up in unity and maturity, attaining to the fullness of Christ." Notice that these are not external gifts given to people, but the people themselves are the gifts. These are people gifts, vocational intelligence, theogenetic codes that have been planted in each one of us. Every one of us, made in the image of God, reflects this fivefold typology. And when we surrender our lives to Christ, we're set free to the point that these theogenetic codes start to animate the movement of the kingdom. Let's take a look at these 5 kinds of people that Christ has given the church. Apostles are pioneers, entrepreneurs, always moving into new territory. Apostle literally means sent one. They help cultivate a daring environment in the congregation. They love crossing boundaries. I have nicknamed them Dream Awakeners because they help people discover and live out their calling. They help to cultivate a discipleship ethos because they want to see the multiplication of disciples, ministries, churches, and movements. Apostles help people and communities live out the answer to Jesus' prayer: "May your kingdom come and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Prophets are visionaries and activists, people concerned about social justice. They help cultivate a liberating environment, liberating people from personal sins and speaking truth to the powers and social sins. I've nicknamed them heart revealers because they reveal the heart of God and the heart of the people. Prophets call the church to God's new social order and help them stand with the poor and the oppressed. Evangelists are recruiters, ambassadors. They're looking to create a positive encounter between people and the good news of the kingdom. They enlist others to both accept and share the good news. I have nicknamed evangelists storytellers because they tell and share God's story in such a way that everybody realizes that they're a part of it, either as villains or heroes. They want to help people to become heroes. Evangelists help the church to proclaim the good news by being witnesses and redemptive agents. They help cultivate a welcoming environment, helping the community practice hospitality as a way of life. Then we have pastors, who are nurturers and counselors. I call them soul healers. These are people who create a healing environment and help us work through our past hurts and move toward a sense of wholeness in the context of community. They have a deep sense of the brokenness within us and help us to cultivate a life-giving spirituality and embody reconciliation. Soul healers create a sense of family within the group. They seek to protect people and create environments where people can feel safe to be vulnerable. Finally, we have teachers, or the educators and trainers. Teachers are great at gathering knowledge and passing on wisdom. I've nicknamed teachers light givers because they shed light on the sacred text and help people understand it in a life-giving way. They help people immerse themselves in God's story, guiding people to see that the Bible is not merely a book to be read, but a voice to be heard, pulling us into transformative dialogue. Teachers cultivate learning environments. So which did you most identify with? If you want to live out God's mission in the world, It's important to grasp and practice your vocational intelligence within the fivefold typology. At V3, we help you learn how God has designed you for mission. We equip you as a church planner to move beyond a solo leader mentality into releasing the various intelligence that the fivefold brings. The missional potential of the church is waiting to be awakened.